Today we're going to write equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. You're going to need the formulas that we have already used. Big thing, here we go. Parallel lines have the same slope. The same slope, exactly the same slope. So, when you see example 1, write an equation of a line that passes through 2, 4 and is parallel to the line 1. Look at y equals 4x plus 1. What is the slope? By the way, class, you better be good for the sub because they're going to write down if you're not. Here the slope is 4, so m is 4. And if you want a parallel line, we keep it the same. They have what? The same slope, parallel lines. So then you say step 2, we're going to use y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. We have our slope, we have our point 2, 4. I know you guys can do this. We say y minus 4 equals 4 times x minus 2. You distribute, you say y minus 4 equals 4x minus 8. Now, if we want this in standard form at the end, we'll have to get it. If we want it in slope-intercept, which I'm going to have you do today with me not here, is just add over the 4 and you get 4x minus 4, where we have our slope and our y-intercept. So pause if you need to catch up, but I'm moving on. It says, write an equation line that passes through negative 4, 6 and is parallel to this. Well, remember, this is in y equals mx plus b. First thing we do is find our slope. So we look here, and m is negative 3. And they gave us the point negative 4, 6. So we're going to then, plug into y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. So y minus, what is y sub 1? That's 6. M is negative 3. X minus, what is x sub 1? Negative 4. So remember, a negative and negative, that turns to a positive. We're going to have to distribute. So we're going to get y minus 6 equals negative 3x minus 12. We're then going to add the 6 over, because eventually we're going to graph these, not today, but we will. And this is the equation you get. It is parallel to what? It is parallel to this equation they gave you. Why is it parallel? The slope is negative 3. The slope is negative 3. They are parallel. All right. Now we're talking perpendicular. They have negative reciprocal slopes. You flip the slope and change the side. To determine which of the following, if any, are perpendicular. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so we need to place, first up, place all equations into y equals mx plus b. Place all equations into this form. So for line A, this is just names, line A, line B, line C. So for line A, we have 12x minus 3y equals 3. So we're going to subtract the 12x. And remember, keep the sign in front. This is a negative 3y. It's a negative 12x. This is a positive 3. Then we're going to divide everything by a negative 3. And y is going to equal 4x plus 1. So here, my slope is 4 over 1. We're just writing that. All right, let's go to line B. Well, it's y equals 4x plus 2. Here my m is 4. It's already in the form. There's nothing much to do. So let's move along to line C. Line C. It is 4y plus x equals 8. 4y plus x equals 8. Remember, we're solving for y. So we're going to subtract the x and get 4y equals a negative 1x plus 8. To get the y alone, we have to divide by 4 everywhere. And y will equal negative 1/4 x plus 2. And here my slope is a negative 1/4. Now, a reciprocal is when you flip it. Well, let's look at all the slopes. See if we have any reciprocals. 2. Line A and B have the exact same slope, but line C has a negative 1/4. So if you look at this, if you flip this, that would be 1/4 and change the sign. So line A and line B are perpendicular to line C. What that means is if we would graph these, on your graph, this would happen. Ready? Here's your X and Y axis, right? And if we're at 2, you go up 4 over 1, this would be line B, this would be line C. Well, what happens, sorry, this would be, I said it wrong. This would be line A, this would be line B. Line C would look like this. And it would create 90-degree angles here. It's perpendicular. It would intersect them and create 90-degree angles. So we're going to graph them when I get back. Let's learn how to solve them. All right, determine which of the following pairs are parallel or perpendicular. Now, parallel, they have the same slope. Perpendicular, they have negative reciprocal slopes. So line A, let's look at line A. And we just have to put them into y equals mx plus b. So 4x plus y equal 2. We're going to subtract the 4x and get y equals a negative 4x plus 2. Here your m is a negative 4, and let's put it in fraction form over 1. Let's move on to line B. We have 5y plus 20x equals 10. And subtract 20x. So 5y will equal negative 20x plus 10. Divide by 5 everywhere. And y will equal a negative 4x plus 2. Here your m is a negative 4. There's our slope. So do you see right now that this slope and this slope are exactly the same? That means that they are parallel. When they have the same slopes, they're parallel lines. Let's move on and look what line C does. Line C is 8y equals 2x plus 8. So this is easy. All you have to do is divide by the 8 to get it into y equals mx plus b. And you get y equals 1/4 x plus 1 when I simplify. Now, for this to be the negative reciprocal, you have to flip it and change the sign. Now, this little upside down t means perpendicular. And the perpendicular slope to this would have to be, you flip it, which would be 1/4, and you change it from negative to positive. This is what you need for a perpendicular line. Well, here my m is a positive 1/4, so it is not perpendicular. All we know is that A and B are parallel. That's all we know. A and B are parallel. Let's do it again. Oh, the same exact question. Let's not do it. I'll move along to example 4. All right. It says write the equation line perpendicular to this equation that passes through 3/4. So we see that we have y equals 1/3 x plus 2. So my slope that they give me is right here. This is my slope. My slope is 1/3. But I just told you, last slide, we need the perpendicular slope. And this little upside down t means perpendicular. And to find the perpendicular slope, you flip it, so it's 3/1, and you change the sign. This is positive. We change this to negative. So we are going to use this slope and the point, negative 3/4, to find our new line. We're going to use the equation y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Plug in what we know. Remember that this is x sub 1, this is y sub 1. Here's our m, just so you know. We're going to say y minus 4 equals a negative 3 times x minus a negative 3. This is turned into plus 2 negatives. So y minus 4, we're going to distribute negative 3x minus 9, because negative 3 times x is negative 3x, negative 3 times a positive 3 is negative 9. I'm going to add my 4, I'm going to get y equals a negative 3x minus 5. That's where I want you to stop. Again, we are going to graph in the next couple of days. All right. Determine whether the line through 1, 3, 3, 4 is perpendicular to line B through 1, -3, 2, 5. So find the slopes. So all you have to do is find the slopes, and you're going to say m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Ready? Line A. Line A. They give you the point 1, 3, and 3, 4. So you say that your slope is x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, plug in, 4 minus 3 over 3 minus 1 equals 1 over 2. Then we go to line B, and they give you the point 1, -3, and the point 2, -5, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So your m equals -5 minus a -3 over 2 minus 1 equals, make that a plus sign please, -5 and a +3 give you a -2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So here we have 1/2, and here we have a -2 over 1. Well, to be perpendicular, so this is my slope of 1/2. Anything perpendicular to this, we'd have to flip it, so it'd have to be 2 over 1, and we'd have to change the sign. This is positive, so this would be negative. Is this -2 over 1 the same as this -2 over 1? The answer is yes. So I can say that line A and line B are perpendicular. They are. There they are. If you need to pause, pause. Again, don't give the sub any trouble because he'll write down your name. All right, write an equation line that passes through the point 4, -2 and is perpendicular to the line of y equals 5x plus 2. So you start with y equals 5x plus 2. You say the slope is what? The slope is 5. My perpendicular slope, put this over 1. You have to flip it, which would be 1/5. And if this is positive, this is negative. You have to change the sign. This is the slope we're going to use, and the point we're going to use is 4, -2. We're going to use y minus y sub 1 is times m equals m times x minus x sub 1. So y minus a -2 equals a -1/5 times x minus 4. This turns into a plus sign, 2 negatives. Y plus 2 equals -1/5 x. Now, -1/5 times a -4 is a positive 4/5. We multiply fractions. Tops times tops, bottoms times bottoms. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 times 1 is 5. Negative times a negative is a positive. All right, then we subtract 2. You might need your calculator for this. But y equals a -1/5 x. Let me write it right. -1/5 x minus 1 1/5. This is your answer. Your calculator will do the fractions for you. Don't worry. We did this one already. And again, we did that one on once, twice. But we're done, and I'll assign homework.